One night in Bangkok, Thailand, a criminal named Mek was hiding. He was in a panic because the police were chasing him, and bad luck led him to a dead end. As he stood there confused, a mysterious man appeared and offered to help. The man said he could save Mek, but in return, Mek had to agree to become his servant. With no other choice, Mek agreed. Immediately, Mek's body glowed as if on fire. A few moments later, the police arrived at the location, but they only found a bloody hole in the wall of the road temple, which was in the mountains. Meanwhile, a monk named Chan suddenly had a vision of the future, a great disaster that would hit Bangkok. He realized the disaster was coming from his own father. Before leaving, Chan said goodbye to his master, Master Pra. The master warned that Chan's father was no longer a normal person, but a necromancer, someone who could raise the dead and control the energy of death. Chan immediately left the temple. On the other side of the city, at the airport, an American police officer named Jake had just arrived in Thailand with his wife Prang and their daughter Lu. They came to visit Prang's mother and enjoy a vacation. However, instead of relaxing, Jake was busy on the phone with his office, dealing with work matters. After dropping their bags at the hotel, the three of them went to a floating market to buy souvenirs. Prang looked annoyed because Jake was constantly on his phone, even during their vacation. Then they suddenly realized that Lu was gone. Panicked, Jake and Prang searched for Lu everywhere in the market. Finally, Jake found Lu on a bridge. Lu was talking to a monk, Chan. Chan called Jake by his name, and Jake was confused because they had never met before. Jake told his family it was time to go. Before they left, Chan warned that this meeting was not a coincidence, but a part of destiny. Chan told Jake that he was the gatekeeper, and that he would soon face a big test that could make him lose everything. Jake thought it was all nonsense, and left Chan. After that, Jake and Lu sat and ate ice cream, waiting for Prang, who was buying a gift. Lu said he wanted to take karate lessons after their vacation, and asked Jake to promise he would always come to watch him practice. Jake agreed, and they made a pinky promise to show that the promise could not be broken.
Pinky swear.
Pinky swear is the strongest swear ever. You can't break a pinky swear.
Soon Prang arrived and saw that Lu's shirt was dirty from the ice cream. She took Lu to a nearby mall restroom to clean him up. But then Mek appeared and started shooting people in the mall randomly. Everyone panicked. Jake, hearing the gunshots, rushed to the restroom to find his wife and child. He told Prang and Lu to go back to the hotel first while he helped with the evacuation. Prang tried to convince Jake to go with them, but Jake insisted on helping the frightened people. Prang and Lu finally hid in a toilet outside the restroom, while police started to arrive. An officer named Arat entered the mall. Jake quietly watched Mek from a distance. The atmosphere was tense as everyone was hiding. Jake picked up a pistol that was on the ground and told Mek to surrender, but Mek shot at Jake instead. Jake hid and saw a panicked woman. He tried to calm her down, but Mek shot and killed her. Mek told Jake to come out. When Mek wasn't looking, Jake shot him. Strangely, Mek thanked him, saying his ritual was now complete. Jake was confused by this. Mek's body lit up and exploded, sending black smoke all over the city.
A few moments later, everything was quiet again. Prang and Lu came out of the toilet, but outside they saw people who were possessed and killing each other. They ran back into the mall and were chased by the raging people. Meanwhile, Jake woke up after the explosion. Art was next to him, also alive. They were confused. Why did they survive, and where were all the bodies that were scattered around before? Prang and Lu ran from the mall, trying to avoid the possessed people. They went into a convenience store and found the cashier dead. Lu cried, worried about his father. Prang comforted him, saying she was sure Jake would be okay. Elsewhere, Jake and Art heard screams and went toward the sound. They saw a woman who had turned into a zombie. Art was attacked and died. Jake shot the zombie, but it didn't work. Finally, he fought it until it fell, and he ran away, but the zombie got back up. Prang tried to call her mother, but there was no signal. She told Lu to stay put and tried to use the phone at the cashier's desk. It was also dead. Suddenly, a possessed person came in as if smelling other people. He looked in every corner of the room. Just as he was about to attack Lu from behind, Prang fought him until he fell. Meanwhile, the zombie woman kept chasing Jake, but he finally managed to tie her up with a rope and escape. Then Prang and Lu ran to a bus terminal, still avoiding the possessed people. There they saw a normal person wave them onto a bus. Inside the bus were an old woman, a corporate slave man, and a driver. All of them were still normal. Prang told the driver to start the bus, but the key was outside. No one dared to get it. Finally, Prang went out with a metal rod and grabbed the bag with the key. As Prang was about to get back on, she was pulled by two possessed people. The corporate slave man helped Prang, telling her to get inside the bus. The corporate slave man was then killed. The driver started the bus and they drove through the chaotic city. When they were almost at the hotel, the bus stopped because the road was blocked by scattered vehicles. Prang and Lu had no choice but to get off and continue on foot.
Jake finally arrived at the bus terminal, but it was quiet. Suddenly, a giant skeleton monster appeared and chased him. Jake ran into a neighborhood but got trapped in a dead end. Just as the skeleton monster was about to attack him, someone opened a door and helped Jake. It was Chan. Chan took Jake into his secret temple. Jake was confused and asked Chan if he was dreaming. Chan explained that this was not a dream. Jake was currently in another dimension called Hindrance. Hindrance is a dimension between heaven and hell, a place for lost souls. Jake was in this Hindrance realm to atone for his actions. Jake was even more confused because he felt he hadn't done anything wrong. Chan then explained that in the mall, Jake had helped Nek complete his blood ritual which opened the gates of hell. Now demons from hell were free to roam the human world. The demons were possessing the bodies of humans who often sinned. Chan said that Jake was destined to be in the mall, and this was also known by an evil figure named Wichien. Wichien sent Mek into the mall to kill people as sacrifices. The final sacrifice to open the gates of hell was Mek himself. When Mek died, the gates of hell opened, and Jake unknowingly helped open the gates by killing Mek. Chan said that they still had time to close the gates of hell before they opened completely. If that happened, the gates of hell could not be closed again. Since Jake opened the gates of hell, Jake was also the one who had to close them. Jake still couldn't believe why he was chosen to be the gatekeeper of hell. Chan explained that Jake was born from death. Jake's mother died after giving birth to him during a full moon. Jake was still confused and didn't care about what Chan was saying. He just wanted to be reunited with his family. Chan promised to take Jake to his family if Jake would help him close the gates of hell. Chan said that Prang and Lu were on their way to the hotel, but Jake wouldn't be able to meet them without his help. Chan told Jake to move fast before the gates of hell opened completely. Finally, Jake agreed to help Chan so he could be reunited with his family in the human world. Meanwhile, Prang continued to fight the possessed people with great difficulty until she and Lu finally managed to get into their hotel room. But what they saw from the window made them speechless. The city of Bangkok was now completely destroyed. Prang tried to call her mother using the hotel phone, but like the other devices, the phone was broken and couldn't be used. She then comforted Lu, telling him they had to survive and wait for Jake to come. Meanwhile, in the Hindrance realm, Chan told Jake they had to find Mek right away. Only Mek could lead him to the mastermind behind all of this, Wichien. Jake asked who Wichien really was. Chan answered sadly. Wichien was his own biological father. In the past, before he became a necromancer, Wichien was a monk. But because he was thirsty for power, he stole two forbidden books, the Book of Immortality and the Book of Soul Energy Absorption. The longer he studied them, the more his physical body broke down. In despair, Wichien looked for a new body for his soul, and he chose his own son's body, Chan. Luckily, the ritual was stopped by Chan's mother, and Wichien was finally destroyed. His soul was cast out of the human world, losing its form and power. Suddenly, they heard a woman's voice asking for help from the top of a building. Jake reflexively wanted to help, but Chan stopped him. They had to focus on finding Mek. But Jake stubbornly went up to the roof and saved the woman from a monster attack. When Jake saw the woman's face, he was shocked. This was the same woman Mek had shot in the mall. How could she be alive again? But that question wasn't answered. The giant skeleton monster suddenly appeared and caught the woman. It then ate her right in front of Jake. After things calmed down, Jake demanded an explanation. Chan said that what Jake had just seen was not a living human, but the spirit of the woman who died in the mall. This meant that the woman was already dead. Jake was silent, then began to wonder, "Does that mean I'm also dead?" Chan nodded slowly. Yes, Jake died in the big explosion at the mall. Jake was devastated. He felt like everything was over. Then Jake asked if Chan himself was also dead. Chan said that he was still alive. Chan had the ability to cross between dimensions. Jake was sad, thinking everything was over because he was now dead. Then Chan said that what ended was only Jake's life in the human world, while in the Hindrance realm, everything was just beginning. Chan told Jake to stay focused. They had to find Mek right away. It turned out that Mek was not in this Hindrance realm. To chase him to the human world, Jake had to possess someone else's body. The ritual wasn't easy, but Chan was willing to help him.
Meanwhile, in the real world, Mek, who had now disguised himself as Jake, stood in front of the hotel room door. He knocked calmly. Prang opened the door without any suspicion, thinking the man was her husband. In the Hindrance realm, Chan finally found a portal to the human world, but the place was heavily guarded by winged monsters. Chan warned Jake to move very carefully. They then took an escalator to the upper floor where the portal was located. Some of the monsters noticed their presence and came closer with the intent to kill. At the critical moment, Chan jumped into the portal first. Jake followed, and just after arriving in the human world, he looked at his own reflection in a mirror and was surprised. The face he saw was not his own. Jake had now possessed someone else's body. Chan explained that it was the only way for Jake to be able to communicate and interact with people in the human world again. It wasn't perfect, but it was enough to complete their mission. Inside the hotel room, Mek, disguised as Jake, began to carry out his plan. He convinced Prang and Lo to quickly move to a safer place. But Lo, who was still a child, started to feel that something was strange. The person in front of him looked like his father, but his attitude and energy were different. Something was wrong. Meanwhile, outside the hotel, Chan gave Jake two important weapons. The first, a pistol with bullets made of a special metal, and the second, a sacred knife, forged from 9 different metal elements, the only weapon that could kill demons. But Chan himself was not allowed to use it. He was bound by an oath, which is why these weapons were given to Jake. Jake was confused for a moment. Why did they come to the hotel where his wife and child were? Weren't they looking for Mek? But as soon as he realized, it all made sense. Mek had disguised himself as him, and now his family was in danger. Without a second thought, Jake immediately ran into the hotel, to the room, before it was too late. The room phone suddenly rang, even though it was broken before and couldn't be used. Mek, who was disguised as Jake, answered it and wrote something down on a piece of paper. Not long after, Jake and Chan arrived at the hotel room where Prang and Lo were supposed to be. However, the room was empty. Jake was confused. He didn't understand why Mek was targeting his family. Meanwhile, Chan found a note left by Mek, a clue about their next step. Suddenly, a scream was heard from downstairs. It was Lo's voice. Jake and Chan immediately rushed down. They finally found Prang and Lo, but because Jake was in another person's body, they didn't recognize him. Prang immediately protected Lo with a watchful attitude. Without warning, Mek came from behind and attacked Jake. He told Jake not to get involved. Jake, who was angry, fought back, telling Mek to stay away from his family. They got into a fierce physical fight. As Jake was about to shoot, Mek suddenly pushed him into the swimming pool. Without a weapon, the fight continued in the pool. The two of them attacked each other with their bare hands again. Then, Jake took out the sacred knife that Chan had given him. As he prepared to end the fight by stabbing Mek, Prang suddenly appeared and told them to stop. She stood holding a pistol, confused about which one was the real one. Jake tried to explain that he was the real Jake, but Prang was still in doubt. Lo then came forward and asked Jake to prove it. He asked his father to make a promise as they always did. Jake held out his pinky, a habit that only he and Lo knew about. However, in a panicked and stressful situation, Prang shot Jake, her own husband. The shot sent Jake back into the Hindrance realm.
There, the winged monsters were waiting for him and immediately attacked. A few moments later, Jake woke up. Chan had managed to save him just in time. If he had been a little late, Jake could have been completely erased in the Hindrance realm forever. Chan told him that he had found the location of the gates of hell thanks to a piece of paper left by Mek. The writing on the paper was in an ancient language that only Wei Qian and his followers could understand. Chan was sure that Prang and Lu had also been taken there. In short, Chan took Jake to an empty house, the old headquarters of Wei Qian's followers. But they were still in the Hindrance realm, while the gates of hell were in the human world. To get there, they had to find a portal again. This time, Jake asked Chan if he could possess a human body that was stronger than before to face a tougher fight. In the human world, Mek brought Prang and Lu to Wei Qian. It turned out that Wei-Chien needed the blood of Lu, who was a descendant of Jake, the gatekeeper of Hell, to complete a ritual so he could open the gates of Hell perfectly. Outside, Chan and Jake finally found a portal that connected them to the human world. At that very moment, at the ritual site, Wei-Chien was preparing to stab Lu to complete his ceremony. Just before that happened, Jake, who was now in another person's body, appeared at the location. Wei-Chien immediately ordered his men to send Jake back to the Hindrance realm. But Jake was now in a strong enough body, giving him an advantage in the fight. He managed to defeat several of Wei-Chien's men. Soon after, Mech got involved. He immediately attacked Jake and took out his heirloom pistol, trying to shoot him. Jake managed to dodge, and a close-range fight was unavoidable. This time, Jake was better. He managed to defeat Mech in a fierce duel. Meanwhile, Prang didn't stand by. She took the heirloom pistol and immediately shot Wei-Chien, who was about to stab Lu. After that, she threw the pistol towards Jake. Jake immediately aimed and shot Mech. Mech's body was instantly thrown into the Hindrance realm. There, the giant skeleton monster appeared, caught Mech, and ate him. In the human world, Wei-Chien finally faced Chan. But Chan refused to fight. He still respected his oath not to raise a weapon against his biological father. Jake took advantage of this moment. He came from behind and stabbed Wei-Chien with the sacred knife. Wei-Chien fell, but before disappearing, he said that the only way to close the gates of Hell was for Jake to go into them. This meant that Jake would never be able to return to his family. After Wei-Chien disappeared, Jake looked at Chan, making sure what he said was true. Chan nodded slowly and apologized for not telling him sooner. He had tried to find another way, but found no solution. The gate could only be closed from the inside by Jake himself. Then Jake said goodbye to Prang and Lu. He apologized for always ignoring them. Lu, with tears in his eyes, asked him to come back. Jake promised he would find a way home. Before stepping into the gates of Hell, he asked Chan to take care of his family. Chan nodded and said he believed Jake would find his way back. Jake then entered the gates of Hell. Slowly, the gate disappeared, completely closed. Long story short, after the situation calmed down, Prang took Lu to go see her mother. Life began to return to normal, at least on the surface. However, one night, a mysterious woman appeared at the location where the gates of Hell had previously been opened. Without saying much, the woman performed a ritual, and slowly, the gates of Hell that had been closed opened again.